I'm Caroline, and I'm here with Frankie Ballard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing mighty fine. How are you?
Fantastic. Happy to be here with you.
Well, thanks for having me. We're in front of this beautiful wall. I'm feeling very creative standing in front of this, so let's dig into it.
I know, because we were thinking you painted it. We thought you had all sorts of artistic skills.
No, mine are limited to the musical variety.
Okay, so if you were going to come back as any legendary rock and roll performer in their heyday, who would it be and why?
It's impossible for me to not say Elvis. You know, I'm a big Elvis Presley fan. When I was a kid, my dad turned me on to all the old Elvis stuff, and I don't know, I just was taken by him like probably everybody else that ever saw him back in the 50s or 60s was. And I just thought he was a great entertainer and a great singer, and thought he had cool moves, and I liked the way he dressed, and you know, really the first rock star that ever was. So I think it'd be fun to walk a mile in his shoes.
I mean, you have the hair like Elvis, you have style like Elvis, you have moves like Elvis, mixed with a little Mellencamp and Seeger.
That makes sense because I'm a big fan of all of them, you know, so they were my heroes growing up, and I guess you always kind of want to be like your heroes, right?
Totally. Do you have any pet peeves?
Yeah, I guess. It's always hard for me to remember them because, you know, if it's something that you don't like, you try to force it out of your mind. But one of them is when people say, I could care less. You know, like an example would be, oh, I could care less about little Johnny's soccer game. But it's not could care less, it's couldn't care less. And nobody said, if you could care less, you would, you know. It doesn't make any sense. It's, I could not possibly care any less about little Johnny's soccer game. So it's the way it's supposed to be said. So people say that all the time. I don't think anybody gets it right.
They use the whoa. Okay. I'm going to scoot you forward right like here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
shoulder, yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Great.
We don't have to start over, do we?
We can
Cut
just
in.
pick up right where we couldn't care less.
Yeah.
We could not care less that there's background noise.
I could not. I could care less.
With the grammar police.
Can we roll with that in the back?
We have to.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I like that. I like that you're in tune with grammar and that you care about those kind of things.
Well, it's just, you know, pet peeves are weird because they hit you and you don't expect them coming. You go, man, it really bothers me. I guess that's why it makes it a pet peeve. But that one just always sticks out to me.
So you just came off a 10-date European tour where you sold out a lot of shows, including the legendary Bush Hall in London. In Amsterdam, you sold out your first show there. Talk to me about that.
It was an incredible trip. You know, we made a commitment to start going over and furthering our territory. And it's really a dream of mine to go to another country, go across the world like that, and try to take my music as far as I can take it. So we're just getting started, and we've found nothing but great music fans, people that want to come and have a good time, and they love live music. And I can't wait to get back. I mean, we had an incredible time.
What are the fans like over there? Are they different than in America?
In some ways, they're similar. In some ways, they're different. Like, I think a good example is in Germany, the people kind of clap longer than they do in America. Like, okay, bong, the song's over, and it's like, woo, I love that song. Oh my God, okay. That's about it. You know, you get like but they just keep clapping. Like, and it took me a little bit of time to get used to me, and I was flattered by it. Thank you for, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start another song now. So that was a little different, but for the most part, they just want to have a great time and cut loose and listen to music, and we try to provide it for them.
Do you have a favorite country?
Well, the good old US of A, of course, is number one. But I think it's too early because I haven't really explored all. I haven't been to Italy or Spain yet, and I think I would love those. And Amsterdam was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting Amsterdam to be what it was, you know.
What was it? What is it as crazy as people think it is? Because there's all sorts of stuff that happens in Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you know, there's legal marijuana in the red light district, of course, and I think that's what people think about, but it's such a beautiful city. It's a really old city. There's all these canals that go on every block, so there's lots of boats and bridges and bicycles and great shops and restaurants. I was really impressed. I thought it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go back there.
Prettiest girls, what country? Besides America.
Belgium, Germany, Scandinavia. That whole area, the whole Bavarian region.
Okay, looking good over there. So your album, El Rio, came out in June, and it has been so critically acclaimed. Not only did Rolling Stone say it's one of the 25 best country albums, they also said one of the 25 best Americana albums. Talk to me about this, because you kind of took a little different approach to this album. You also recorded it at Sonic Ranch near El Paso. Tell me about the inspiration behind this album.
Well, I've always been trying to get better. That's definitely been the focus of what I've been trying to do and trying to refine my sound. You know, I grew up with a variety of influences from old country to blues and rock and roll. And, you know, I think the best an artist can be is when they're making music that's as close to the real influences as possible, you know, what really turns them on musically. And sometimes you get caught up in thinking about, well, what's popular right now, and I need to have a hit on the radio or things like that. But the truth is, I was just trying to get focused on making the best music I could make, because I think the fans deserve that, and I think that's what's going to move the meter. So we got out of town, out of Nashville, to get away from any distractions and just try to get focused, really. You know.
How'd you pick Sonic Ranch?
Well, I fell in love with the idea of it being right on the border down by El Paso, and just kind of felt a bit mysterious and spooky and maybe haunted, and maybe we'd be caught up in some sort of drug-related activity. You know, I don't know. It felt like a getaway for sure. But this hacienda on the border, it was away from almost everything. I mean, it's 35, 40 minutes outside of El Paso, really, so you can't really get much cell phone service. There's not places to go. I knew we would not be distracted. We'd be able to be focused, and I also love the desert. You know, I think it's an inspirational place. So all signs pointed to the Sonic Ranch.
Do you have a favorite song from the album and one that you love to play live? Is there one that hit you right in the heart?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to answer those kind of questions because you spend so much time with each of the songs, and
they're like your babies.
Yeah, they definitely become that close. But then the album comes out, and you go out on the road and you start playing them live. And Good as Gold, to me, feels like the heart of the album. It's one I look at the set list, and I'm excited to get to it.
Tell me why.
Well, it's got a big guitar solo in it, which is fun to play. But I'm just proud of it, I guess. I'm proud of the way it came out. I'm proud of the production. I'm proud of what it says. I think it's a courageous lyric, and I'm just always excited to lay it on people and see what they think.
Tell me what the heart of the song says.
Well, it's a guy speaking to a girl and saying, you know, I know that we're not together right now and you're not with me, but you need to be with me, and here's why. Because I'm this kind of person, and the person you're with is this kind of person, and this is why you need me. And I know a lot of people feel that way. I've felt that way at times in my life, and it's courageous to step out and say it, you know, and tell somebody how you really feel.
I love that. Okay, so Cigarette, the first song off the album, you actually didn't write this one, but it's an all-star writing triage. You have Chris Stapleton, Jaron Johnston from the Cadillac 3, and then you have Kip Moore. So tell me how you fell in love with that song.
Well, I first heard it was a Chris Stapleton demo, and everything Chris Stapleton sings sounds amazing. So I thought, wow, this is incredible. He's not recording this, and I found out Kip was not recording it, or the Cadillac 3 was not recording it with Jaron, and it just was out there in the world, and I thought, I love this song. It's so sexy. It's not really about anything other than a lust, you know, which that's okay with me. It's okay that a song doesn't get heavy. It's okay to just have one that, you know, is ripped down by the band, and it's sexy, and that's it. And so I fell in love with it and wanted to record it the day I heard it first, you know. So I was thankful, and I was really proud of the way it came out down in El Paso. I think it's a great definition point for the new sound that we were trying to create, you know.
So talk to me about this new sound that you were wanting to create. And also, I got to do a quote that Rolling Stone said. They said, okay, there's a quote from Rolling Stone that said, "This is a different kind of music for Michigan-based songwriter filled with country rock anthems that have more in common with the heartland heroes of Ballard's youth, especially Bob Seger and John Mellencamp." So tell me about the sound that you wanted to create and why this is different than your past albums.
Well, I'm really proud that those words were spoken about it, because that's what was in my mind. You know, I was thinking about more of a rock and roll kind of production. I'm in a 5-piece band, and that's how we play live, and there's electric guitars and bass and drums, and that's what I've always been doing, and keyboards. And when I started, I was arranging music with that instrumentation, and that's my wheelhouse. And no matter what's popular or what's sonically important on the radio or in pop culture now, that was part of that getting centered in what I do headspace. I had to be true and honest to what I really knew how to do, which was more of this production, you know, and that's all it is. It's just a 5-piece band, and we worked hard on the arrangements, and we rehearsed hard, and we recorded live, and
Wow.
and kind of old school in that way, you know. But that's in an effort to just be my best and be really who I am. The sound and the instrumentation was a big part of that.
You recorded your album live?
Well, I mean, like the live tracks, we sang and overdubbed things. Not many things, but the tracks were all cut live, you know, and not pieced together.
Nobody does that anymore. What a crazy cool experience.
Some people do, but I just don't. It absolutely was. I just don't. I don't know how to do anything else, you know. That's what turns me on. That's what I want to be doing. That's what creatively happens with me. So I felt like we needed to be in that space.
Does El Rio mean something in particular to you?
Well, it means the river in Spanish, and we were right on the Rio Grande River, which was the only border between the U.S. and Mexico. And I guess it just put me in a really thankful headspace, because here I am on this side of the river really living my dream and getting to do things that I always wanted to do. And there's people right on the other side of the river that aren't necessarily, you know. And I just walked into the studio every day thankful, and I think being in that peaceful headspace really helped make the music better.
Talk to me about where you got your love for music. Michigan's a big part of who you are. You're obviously from Michigan, Detroit. And how did you get your love for music? Is it in your family? Is anyone else musical? Where did it come from?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I mean, my family never professionally played music, but we all love music, and I guess it was just from the first time I heard it, you know. I mean, you have to imagine, I love music so much that I had to start playing it, you know, and not just start playing it, but try to really figure it out. I mean, I don't know. I wish I knew what the first song I ever heard was. I mean, how could you? But I'm sure it was that moment. You know, I just been hooked ever since. It really matters to me. I always find myself counting on music. Like if I had a broken heart and needed something to make me feel better or make me wallow in pain, I would turn to music. You know, if I needed to get energized to go work out or whatever it is in life that I'm needing music all the time to help me live. So I don't know, just a deep, deep love since day one.
So you've always just wanted to contribute to that music that you have loved. You've wanted to be a contributing force.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's so powerful in my life that it turned into what I do. And yeah, I've never felt like I've worked a day in the music business. You know, I feel like I'm so blessed to get to make music and try to pursue this dream of being somebody that provides music for people like me that need it. You know, that's the man I want to be.
And you said you want to try to pursue this dream. Okay, you have totally pursued this dream. On your last album,
I've been pursuing it for sure.
but Sunshine and Whiskey, you had 3 back-to-back number ones. Talk to me about those songs. Tell me about them and how that felt to have 3 consecutive number 1 hits.
It's still hard for me to even really talk about it. It became it was like a turning point from me knocking on the door and this, to speak metaphorically, you know, trying to get heard, somebody listen to me, somebody come and watch our band, somebody listen, and then I finally got the door opened, you know, and country radio played those 3 songs, and it was an album that Marshall Altman and I worked really hard on. And that's the ultimate dream for songs that you record. You think, I wonder what could happen to this song. I hope people like it. I hope people hear it. And then it gets played more than any other song in the country one week. And it goes to number 1, and it changes your life, you know. And you finally feel like, see, I told you I wasn't crazy. I've been trying to do this, and ever since you first told your sister or your parents, hey, I'm going to be a musician, you know, and they're kind of looking at you like, okay, what's that mean, you know? Because it's not easy to make a living being a musician. I felt legitimized for the first time with those songs. And so that moment I'll never forget. And I kind of think of them as a pack of one moment in time, that album, a turning point for sure.
And that was Sunshine and Whiskey, Hell of a Life, and Young and Crazy, those 3 songs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. We're going to wrap up because I know you're super busy. You have a charity concert that you put on every year, and you've said you've changed the charity, and it's in your hometown of Michigan, and this year it's For the Lens, FTL. Tell me about For the Lens, tell me about this charity, and tell me about why this is important to you.
Well, the show started as kind of a homecoming show. We came back to Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I started the band and played in this old theater, the State Theater. It was a really cool place around Christmas time, you know. And we did it for a few years, and I thought, man, I'd really like to turn this into a charity event, a community event where people could come during the Christmas season and give back in some way. And I mean, I didn't know how to put on a charity show. So it started, and, you know, we picked a charity and gave them what we could. But now this is our 8th year doing it, and this year it's going to the FTL Sarcoma Fund, which stands for the Lens.
Tell me about her.
Lindsay Walleman was a Warner Brothers radio rep that I went on my first radio tour with, and you know, she's the person that goes into the radio stations with the new music, and she's going, hey, you got to play this new Frankie Ballard song, you know. And so they're on the front lines out there working with you, and she was with our team for the first couple singles that I had out. And then she was diagnosed with this really rare sarcoma cancer in her hip bone. And less than a year later, she was dead, you know. She's like 28 years old, and it's just scary, you know, scary to see something so dangerous happen to somebody, you know, somebody young like that. And one of her dying wishes was to, you know, try to create some sort of fund or foundation that could help figure out more about this dangerous thing that just took her life. So some of her friends and former coworkers started the FTL Sarcoma Fund, and they've been doing events and been raising money for a couple years now. And I finally got this charity show like in shape enough where we could actually make a real contribution to something. And so this year we're doing 2 shows for the first time in Michigan, in Kalamazoo, and all the proceeds in an auction, all the proceeds are going to the FTL fund. So I'm hoping it's a big year. The first show is sold out, and the second was almost sold out. So it's really exciting, and I'm so blessed because I get to enjoy all of the great homecoming vibes that are happening in Christmas and seeing my family and playing for these fans I played for 10 years ago. But it's extra special that we can try to help fulfill one of Lindsay's dying wishes to know more about this sarcoma.
Okay, last question. Leave your light. Leave your light. Tell me some inspiration that you would like to inspire people, or how you have been inspired in your life.
Whoa. I don't know if I'm qualified to give such advice. I don't really know much about living life. You know, I feel like I do it wrong most of the time. I feel like, everybody's always the hardest on themselves, but the music business has taught me that can't think of your life in terms of job security or what you do in terms of job security, because there's no job security in the music business. I mean, it can all go away tomorrow. Even if you're on top of the world, it can, and it happens to people. And so that's scary at first, and you're going, oh my God, maybe I should just go work at Lowe's. But then you think, no, I'm going to step out on my dream, and I'm going to go for it, even though I know there's no safety net. And that forces you to work really hard, and it forces you to always get better, because that's the only security you can create for yourself. And I think the concept of getting better mentally, physically, spiritually, musically every day is what I stay focused on. It's the only way I can sleep at night and go, everything's going to be okay, because I'm always getting better. So I don't know if that's advice, but that's how I do my thing.
I love it. Thank you so much, Frankie Ballard, for joining us. We'll see you next year in 2017 all over the road.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see you then.